What's happening, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Everything 9000. This is a podcast where we talk about things that are on Cloud 9000 and the F1 season this year. You know, there's a lot of hype I've noticed in the UK. A lot of people are paying a lot more attention to Formula One. I'm paying attention to it. I'm even watching the races now because I'm interested in how it goes. And a lot of it comes down to the Formula One, the Netflix documentary, Drive to Survive.
Oh, I've seen bits of that.
Yeah, so I just finished season 4. You know, let's just have a really quick recap on last season and the whole dramatics that happened there. All of the drama, you know, the final race of the season, the Drivers Championship is up for grabs, Verstappen v Hamilton. They're both level on points. It's crazy. It's like something we haven't seen in so many years. And then we come to the last lap of the race. Hamilton is pretty much on course to take it, and then there's a crash. The safety car's called out, and then there's just this whole episode of what is this happening? Is that happening? You know, the cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen, there were about 5 cars in between them. Hamilton was ahead, but on older tyres. Verstappen pitted at the right time, got fresh tyres. The cars in between them, they were allowed to lap, so it meant that, you know, Verstappen was right behind Hamilton on fresher tyres. The writing was on the wall. 1 lap to go. Verstappen overtook him, and he wins his first ever championship. And Hamilton misses out on his record-breaking 8th. That was crazy. Literally yesterday, there was news that came out.
Yeah,
and
a report.
There was a report. A report that said, you know, a mistake was made and it was down to human error.
Yeah.
So basically, Formula One said, yeah, we fucked up, but there's nothing we can do about it. The result stands.
Yeah.
And Verstappen's championship is valid. So, you know, what's all your thoughts on that, first off?
Yeah, I mean, either one of them deserved the championship. Like,
right.
it's a bit of a sour taste that it finished the way it did, because the whole season was just amazing to watch. It's finally, we had someone come in and challenge Mercedes, who had dominated for the 7 years prior to that. And you know, me personally, I thought Max deserved the championship, but obviously Lewis deserved that race, and therefore, you know, you think they say over a season in any sport things sort of even out. You look at sort of Silverstone, the way that Hamilton crashed, Verstappen got a very minor penalty and ended up winning the race anyway, so it didn't matter.
Right.
So those sort of things do even out, I think. But yeah, you know, on the last race, Hamilton did get robbed.
A lot, yeah. Is that how you feel?
He did get robbed, yeah.
So, you know, so even then, even with that feeling that he got robbed, you think it was a fair result?
You look at the whole season, and I think like this is unfair on Red Bull and Max, because he drove amazingly throughout the whole season. People are just looking at this one race,
yeah,
because of the hype up to the race. Everyone, even if you didn't watch Formula One, everyone knew that there was something happening in F1.
Yeah.
So everyone was just looking at this one race and thinking, oh, he didn't win it on merit. He actually did. So, you know, it is definitely his championship.
To be honest, like, I've never watched the F1 properly, and I followed the kind of you know, the kind of the outcry after the thing. I wasn't even watching the game. It was just all over the news, wasn't it? I mean, so the race, yeah.
So Hamilton kind of just went really quiet, off the radar, you know, off social media.
Yeah.
You know, he was really like distraught.
But that was probably like advised by his PR, because the last thing you want to do is say something or do something, which is then.
Wasn't there talk that he might not actually come back?
Yeah, there's straight after the race, he sort of said, we'll see, basically.
Right.
Didn't commit to next year.
But obviously, as we know, you know, he's won 7 world championships, level with Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
You know, there's arguments for who's the greatest of all time. You've got a very clear opinion on that.
Yeah, you know, my opinion is Hamilton is the greatest of all time. Right. You look at all the stats, polls, wins. You know, people will say that, you know, Hamilton has the most dominant car ever, but Schumacher had that Ferrari behind him, which was just as dominant in that.
But would the car of today be better than the car of Schumacher's and stuff?
They're faster. You know, you look at raw stats like that.
Exactly, but when you like comparing it over time, like the cars have
I
better.
think you can't compare eras.
Again,
it's like saying, oh, Messi versus Maradona. You can't really compare.
No, you can't compare. But if you're looking at, you're saying like the overall, like, you know, Hamilton's been performing better in terms of like numbers and stuff. But aren't those numbers literally down to the fact that those players could have the same skills, but Hamilton's is just a bit better because his car's a bit stronger or a bit better? Would you not argue that? Like,
people on the surface, it does look like that, but when you look at each individual race, the way he just trounces on everyone.
But I don't. You know, the thing with F1 is like I've never watched it. It's never interested me. But it literally comes down to who has the strongest car. Right?
No, it doesn't.
Does it not? I don't know.
There's a lot of tactics involved. So this is what I mean.
No,
you have to watch. So what? Now that I've been watching it more, and even that last race, prime example.
There are tactics, but
the prime example, that they pitted at the right time, and therefore they got the fresher tires, and that's what won the race.
Yeah.
And there's other things.
There are tactics involved. I'm not kind of like discounting that.
The car is a big factor.
No, the car is the biggest factor. When you say imagine
because you could have Hamilton in a not so great car like today. Yeah, their car is not anywhere near.
George Russell is partnered up with Hamilton for the first time this season, and he really impressed in a crap car, basically,
really
in a Williams. And the fact that he was putting up great results. Mercedes had their eye on
But why is there such the huge disparity between the cars, in the teams?
So one of the things that they're trying to target is this cost cap. So you have manufacturing companies like Mercedes, who are a big company who can spend whatever they want on their car. And you've got teams like Haas and Williams who are not in the automobile business, and are spending a fraction of what they have.
When it comes to funding, because Renault is
manufacturer.
Alpine. Renault is it's a car company.
Yeah.
Aston Martin's a car company. Ferrari.
No, but then doesn't that give them an unfair advantage? And so it just comes down to the fact.
Nobody told Haas to come into it. Yeah. It's your choice. But okay, so it's the first year. Like I said, George Russell, he's partnered up with Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. There's a lot of people saying Bottas, he should have stayed.
I think he needed the change. You could just tell that he was mentally fatigued with just being a second driver to Hamilton. It does take a toll. All these guys think that they're the best. No one is out there thinking, "Oh, he's better than me." Even people go up to Lewis and think, "If I had the same car, I'd be better than you."
Right.
That's what they believe. That's what their confidence is like. So taking a hammering week in, week out, where they're
giving up your position to him.
And giving up position, exactly. You're winning the race, and Lewis needs the points in drivers.
Yeah,
we're going to have the same points in constructors, so you get out of the way and let Lewis win.
Yeah.
It's been like
that. See, that's one thing. I quite like Bottas anyway. I've seen a few of his interviews and stuff. He sounds like a very nice guy. He's very vanilla. But
he's not going to give you drama. He'll get on with the team. He's a good team player.
But the interesting thing about F1, which I think where the drama lies, is within teams, because the two drivers, you're teammates, but you're also rivals at the same time.
The biggest rivals. Yeah.
Because don't you have the exact same car?
So that's who you're getting.
They count it as an embarrassment that I have the same car, but I couldn't beat you.
Yeah, but then it's more so Hamilton's first, then Bottas is at second, third, or fourth and stuff, right? So and then you're almost it's a bit like cycling. So I don't know if you guys watch cycling. Cycling is a team sport, but there's only one winner in cycling. As in when you watch Tour de France, for example, right? You have a whole team. For example, Team Ineos. Okay, yeah. You have one dominant rider, and all the other riders in that team will do everything they can to help that rider win.
Yeah, it does turn out like that.
Yeah, so it is similar in that sense that you have to follow team orders, and the team will decide who's going to take the championship. For example, out of the two drivers, who's going to be the more dominant one.
But there is teams out there where the drivers are very equal. So last season as well, Ferrari, they had Leclerc and Sainz, who are very, very close to each other.
I can't call it between them. I think Sainz is a very good driver, but I think maybe he's too nice.
He's not ruthless enough.
Leclerc's got that killer instinct.
He's won races before. He's done it. He's been there.
Yeah, and even Red Bull, man, they've done good getting Checo in there. Experience. He's a good driver, man. He's he can regularly finish P4, P5. Yeah.
Okay, so this season, who's got the strongest cars?
Ferrari looks like
today.
So if Hamilton does win this season, that would be, you would say.
Well, this is the thing. This is where you say that the car is the
versus
most
the
important.
driver, right?
But where does that come from? That comes from the engineers in the factory and those guys who don't get their name written in the stars. Those guys working day in, day out. So there's a races today. They'll have a debrief tonight and be back in the factory tomorrow.
So first race of the 2022 season in Bahrain today. What were the positions that you said? Leclerc.
So we had Leclerc P1, P2 Sainz. Then we had Hamilton taking the last podium. Russell. And
we had Ferrari and Mercedes first two and third and fourth, and then we had both Red Bulls retire their cars. Crazy start to the season already.
Exactly.
Verstappen was probably tipped to win the race. And Hamilton, everyone was, he was just moaning all weekend. Car's not fast enough. We're not going to catch the front guys. Ends up on P3, which ain't bad. Yeah. Do you think Mercedes are going to make changes to their car? Do you think they're going to come back?
Yeah, I think because it's been the difference is that there's been a whole new set of regulations, meaning that the car's completely different from last year. So it gives the teams a lot of interpretation of how they interpret the new regulations.
Right.
So they can bring all sorts of packages throughout the season to better their car. So Mercedes might be third best now, but by the end of the season they could be first again.
Who's your money on this season?
Right, Ferrari right now, just with their driver pairing, and they've been off the pace for the past couple of years. It looks like they've really been looking to this season to try and get back into the top.
Right.
So they've really had their focus on this season, whereas Red Bull and Mercedes really were focused on last season.
Yeah.
So you probably look at Leclerc and Ferrari.
I'm going to show you my level of knowledge about this. Who's Vettel with?
He's with Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
Aston Martin.
And
Daniel Ricciardo. Do you know
has he
what?
got an outside chance or not? You reckon?
No, nowhere near.
Oh, okay.
Nowhere
I mean, what's happened to him? He was the star boy for a bit, and then wasn't he? Then was it just down to the car? Or was just Hamilton just too good?
No, actually, this is a thing that people don't know is that he used to lead those championships a few years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Hamilton, this is why he's the best driver. A driver like Vettel, who could have been in the position that Hamilton's in now.
Yeah, it was
He
that,
trounced him.
right? Remember, it was always Vettel or Hamilton that was head to head.
Forced him into mistakes. You could see key races where Vettel would just spin under the pressure of Hamilton.
Could they take that extra risk?
They take the extra risk trying to defend against Hamilton, and Hamilton just kept winning year after year. And Ferrari sort of said, "We're done with you, Vettel. We got the young boy Leclerc coming in," and them two had a year together, and there was a lot of friction between the two because it was the old boy going out and the new young star coming in. And then they got rid of it.
It's interesting, man. It's really interesting. Let's see, where this season goes. We've had a good start to it now. You'd think that Mercedes and Red Bull would be at the top, but Ferrari have come in now. Let's see what else happens. And that's all for this episode.
Let's do a pod on cycling next year.